All right. Good morning. I'm Julia Shola. I'm the Industry Relations Manager at PWSA. Thanks for joining us for our fourth and final session of our four-part business development series. We have been talking about services and regulations that impact our business and commercial customers. If you've been here for all four parts, we really appreciate your participation and hope that you have found this series valuable. If this is the first session you're joining, you can find all of our past presentations on our website. If you just head over to the developers, contractors, and vendors tab on our website, you'll see a link to the 2022 business development series. And we have all of our recorded presentations as well as the PowerPoint PDFs. And we're glad you're here today. I'm going to share the PowerPoint. So today's session is going to focus on procurement and contracting and provide you some insight to our processes there. First up, we're going to have Nicole Dyken, our Senior Manager of Procurement. She's going to talk about PWSA resources, submitting a bid, IFB versus RFP, common document submittals, and evaluation criteria. And then Emily Ponarelli, our Senior Manager of Performance, is going to talk about our Supplier Diversity Program. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Nicole.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Nicole Dyken. I'm the Senior Manager of our Procurement Department. I'm just going to run you through just how to access our bids, and it's just pretty high level, but when Julie provides this presentation to you guys, all the links are live, so you'll be able to navigate through the presentation and get to the links, and it has all these little screenshots of where to go so it can point you in the correct direction. So on our PGH2O website, which is our main website, my portion of the website is under the developers, contractors, and vendors. So basically you go under that portion, you view the contracting opportunities, and then you can view the solicitation. So everything that is open for bid is available on our website. So I always tell people to access that if you want to see what we have currently open. And there's also past solicitations like bid tabs, stuff that like you may want to take a look at if you're new to bidding with us, and just to see kind of where the numbers are and just stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff on my portion of the website, but you can go to the next slide, Julie. So this will bring you, when you click through all the ones on the first slide, this will bring you to Bonfire. This is our bidding portal. Everything that we solicit publicly is through the Bonfire website. So basically you could, like I said, you can click on the link on our website, and then this picture right here on the right, the top one, it shows everything that's available currently, or when I made this last week. So it's pretty simple. You just log in to Bonfire via our website, you register your company, you log in with that login every time you want to see what's going on currently with our bids, and you can download any of the documents. And then also a video down here. I'm not going to play it today, but Bonfire has lots and lots of videos on their website. So if you're new to Bonfire in the bidding portal, they pretty much have a video for everything on their website, or you can even go on YouTube and do it. It's pretty easy. But this one tells you how to submit a proposal. But I've done it before, like just to run through it myself from a vendor's point of view, and it's really intuitive. It's pretty simple to access all the documents. It tells you what's required, and so it's pretty easy. Next slide. Yeah, this is just an overview of the company registration. So when you go in to register you and your company, we also use NAICS codes. And when you set up the proper codes that your company does, like what your company does, then you'll automatically get emails from Bonfire when I put a bid on there that falls underneath like sewer construction or, you know, design. So, I mean, make sure when you do sign your company up for Bonfire that you put the proper NAICS codes in there. And these are just the links and a couple screenshots to how to create a new vendor and register your company. Next. So we, at the authority here, we mainly have two types of solicitations. We have invitation for bids and we have request for proposals. Basically, the major difference between the two is an IFB is always your best and final offer with your bid, and there is no negotiation of the contract terms. So by submitting a bid and signing the signature page, you are agreeing to everything that's in that solicitation bid package, the terms and conditions. And if you're qualified to do the work, you will be awarded, and you have the best price, you will be awarded that project. For RFPs, they're a little more subjective. So we kind of know in the ballpark of what we want, but we want you to kind of put a proposal together to say, this is the best way. So with RFPs, we have a bunch of evaluation criteria, and we evaluate. And with IFBs, it's just straight price and qualifications if you're qualified to do the work. And you guys can read through this. This is also on our website. Next slide. So this is common document submittals for each one of our solicitations. So the two most common types are EJCDC IFBs, which is what we do for engineering construction projects, and professional service RFPs. So these are our standard submittals for each one of the different types of solicitations. So for IFBs, there'll be a pricing bid table. The all of these like C410s, C451s that you see, they are all certain documents that are in the EJCDC front end documents. So, and they are all like form fill or that you could fill out and upload to Bonfire as part of your bid submittal, because they are all an individual requirement. So everything's spelled out in each one of our solicitations. I'm trying to think if anything sticks out to me that you would probably be unfamiliar with. Not really. It's pretty typical for any construction bid. For the professional services RFP, basically we have you put a proposal together that consists of the bulleted items there, the cover letter, table of contents, your firm's qualifications, your project team, approach and scope of work, required statements, which is spelled out in the front end documents, exceptions. Usually if you have exceptions to the scope of work or specifications, you have to spell them out up front so we can consider those. Your project timeline, and then your loading analysis or your schedule prices. And then all of these other ones are typical submittals for an RFP. So yeah, references. We always include a professional service agreement with our solicitations, with our professional service solicitations, and we prefer that you return it redlined if you have any issues with it. So these are both typical items that are required for each types of our bids. Next slide. For the RFP, I told you earlier that there was evaluation criteria. This is a typical way that we score the proposals. This is included in your solicitation document, so you're going to know what you're being kind of scored on going into it. So usually it's your firm's qualifications and references, your project team, your project approach and scope of work, your timeline, schedule prices, and also your supplier diversity program participation. And these can vary per project, and the points could vary also. So this is just a typical evaluation points criteria. Next slide. And that's basically all I have. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me. I know that was just a high level, but.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Yeah, feel free to jump in with questions now. And I forgot to mention, you can put in the chat or raise your hand if any questions come up throughout the presentation.
Excuse me, Nicole, quick question. The criteria scoring, could there be partial credit given, or it's just typical 10, 20, 30?
Oh, so it could be, thanks, Julie. No, it could be anywhere up to 20 points. So they could give you 0, 1, 2, whatever.
Okay,
so
no problem. Just wanted to clarify. Appreciate it.
Yep. Anybody else?
And even if you have questions on anything we didn't touch base on, that is fine as well. But go ahead and think about that. And in the meantime, we're going to move on to our supplier diversity program.
Hi, I'm Emily Pontarelli, and I'm going to talk about our supplier diversity program. If you have any questions, you can just feel free to ask them as I'm going through this too, so don't feel like you have to wait till the end. That's fine. So our goals for all projects is 10 to 25% DBE goal on all projects, and I listed all of the certification types that are included in this. We've just recently added the DOBE and the LGBTBE business types to align with the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission's guidelines. So those are new business types. You can see that on the left, that's kind of what our good faith effort waiver request form looks like. If for some reason there's not the ability to meet that 10% minimum goal, then the good faith effort waiver request form needs to be completed. And that just says that there was a good faith effort made to reach out to vendors and try to receive bids, and reasons why those bids were rejected potentially, and a narrative as to why there were no subcontracting opportunities. And I forgot to mention that all vendors must be certified in order to count towards the goals, and it just depends on the business type which certification would be used, and we pretty much go with any public entity certification type. So that could be the PAUCP, which is the Pennsylvania certification program, unified certification program, or there's a couple private certifications that we also use. But if you have any questions about what types of certifications would count, then you could just contact me and I would let you know. You can go on to the next slide. So Nicole kind of touched on this a little bit with the difference between the professional service contracts, the RFPs versus the IFBs, and how those are scored differently, and they're also scored differently in terms of supplier diversity. So for supplier diversity, the RFP contracts would be scored from a 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest. And if you're a DBE prime or go above those goals, you receive the full 10. And if you meet the goals, 10 to 25%, you receive 9 points. And then anything under that, it just depends on the amount of participation and also any good faith effort. And then the IFB contracts, those are scored as a pass or fail, whether they've met the goals or not met the goals as a pass. If they met the goals, failed if they haven't met the goals, and pass if they haven't, but also provide good faith effort waiver as well. Go to the next, yeah. So also it depends on the funding types, what type of DBE outreach is required for our project. So I just went over all of the requirements for us as an organization, but some projects, as you might have seen with our small diameter sewer rehabs or large diameter sewer rehab contracts, those are all PennVest funded projects. So we're getting money from the state of Pennsylvania, grants from the state of Pennsylvania. So they also require additional outreach. And some of those additional requirements include the Pennsylvania Department of General Services website. And that is linked, I believe, on the left. So if you are a DBE vendor, you can register as a supplier on their site and know that there are a lot of contractors who are required to search that site to look for DBEs to fulfill their supplier diversity requirements. So it could be a good place to go and get your business registered. So with the PennVest projects, they have to search that site for minority and women-owned businesses, and they also need to provide solicitation letters out to those businesses to say, you know, this is the project we're bidding on, this is what we're looking for, can you provide a quote, that kind of thing. And communication logs between the subcontractor and the prime vendor that says, you know, we reached out to these people and they provided a quote, or they did not provide a quote, or they weren't interested in bidding. So we need to see all of that for some of these large PennVest funded projects, in addition to our PWSA requirements. So in terms of finding opportunities, Nicole did go through how to log into Bonfire, how to sign up for Bonfire, and where to find that on our website. And that is a place to recommend that you register, if you're a DBE, that you register on Bonfire and mark that you're a DBE firm, what type you are. And that is where we're going to start using that system to send communications out. So that will be a good place for you to start. And as she mentioned, past opportunities are also found here. So this is a good place to go and look to see if we've done any work with a business like yours, or if there's opportunities that we've posted previously that might be of interest to you, to know like what the qualifications were and the bid amounts. And so you can just look at those, and it might be helpful for future bids. You can attend pre-bid meetings. Those are also all found on Bonfire and held virtually. So you just click on the project in Bonfire, and you can find all of that information for each project. There's also the City of Pittsburgh buying plan, and that's linked here. And that just basically tells the entire year's worth of, well, an estimated guide of the entire year's worth of what we plan to buy and bid out. So it's not just us, it's us, but also all of the other government agencies. It's the City of Pittsburgh, it's the Housing Authority, it's the URA, I believe. It's all of the city authorities and what we plan to do within the next year. So you can look at that and have a sense of what's coming and what you can start getting together. You can also attend board meetings for updates on the organization to see what's going on and what projects are coming through. Those are all you can see on the left. That's our next one, which is this Friday, June 24th. They're always on a Friday at 10 a.m. I believe it's usually the last Friday of the month, but sometimes that changes with holidays. So always look on our website. And we also have past minutes and recordings. If you were unable to attend a meeting, you can always go back and look and see some of the old meetings that happened if you missed one. So I talked a little bit about like the front end of the supplier diversity program and awards, but also we do a lot of monitoring as well after a project has already been awarded and money's been spent on a quarterly basis, tracking payments made to subcontractors on each contract. So this is continuous and constantly looking to see how prime vendors are doing to meeting their goals that they proposed originally. And this is payment data is taken from all the invoices, and that's all done through a system, project management system we have called eBuilder. So for our supplier diversity, we're doing supplier diversity audits quarterly. And those will be for any contract that is over 25% complete, and under the goals, those will be audited. And this audit just includes a conversation between the project manager and our construction manager, depending on what, if it's a IFB project or if it's a professional services contract. It just kind of depends on what kind of project it is. But it will be between the PM or the construction manager and the contractor or the consultant, like I said, depending on what type of project it is. And then we will get some information about why the project might be under the goals. And then all of that will be stored in eBuilder. So we'll have documentation on the prime and the project, and if a prime is consistently under goals. So we'll know all of that. And that is just started this year. Also this year, we have developed a supplier diversity annual report. So this includes anything from the previous year, 2021. And it was released in the spring, May of this year. And you can click on that and view the full report. It's on our website as well. It just shows a high level of, the dollar amount that we spent, the number of vendors that we have in our system, and that the percentage of that. So showing that we've met our goals 10 to 25% this last year in 2021. And this is just like a further breakdown of where that money was going. It's a pretty even split between the woman-owned business, veteran business, minority business. We also have a small percentage small business. This is before we've added those two business types. And then you can see just the dollar amount that relates to those percentages as well.
So Emily, next year, this total spend by certification type would possibly have more categories in there.
Yeah, it could. I haven't seen a lot yet. I think it's really kind of a new business type. I haven't seen a lot I haven't seen any come through yet, but potentially, yes. I mean, we would like to. So it's cool. We will see.
Okay.
And in addition to those contract numbers and dollar figures, we've been able to use this in-plan software and with county data to come up with these numbers of impact on the region. So it just shows with our supplier diversity program that we've been able to employ, this 259 figure and the economic output that has that's led to. So if you have some time, you can just go look at this report and you can dig a little bit deeper into this, but we were able to come up with those economic numbers, which is pretty interesting. And in addition to all of this, if you have any questions, if you want to, tell me about your business, or if you want to talk about opportunities, or just have any real questions about the supplier diversity program, you can schedule a virtual office visit. And this is just a one-on-one meeting with me. And the link is there. I have it scheduled for, I think, 2 days a week. For like a 30-minute meeting. And this might change in the future, I'm not sure, but the schedule will be accurate when you click on that link. So, and if for some reason, like none of those times work for you, then we can also figure out a different time or day that does work for you. So just know that that's also flexible, but you can just click on that link and see what times are available. And events, like I said before, please sign up for Bonfire. And this is what we're going to try to be using for upcoming information and program events and updates and all kinds of things. So make sure you're signed up for that. We have a tentative date for our next supplier diversity event in November 10th from 4 to 6. We're still working out the details for this, but we want it to be an in-person kind of networking event around the water reliability plan projects for the next coming year. So if those interest you, please sign up for Bonfire and note that you are a DBE, and then we will make sure to get all of this information out to you when we have it. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Emily, yes, I have one question. For a DBE to be a prime on an RFP, is there a minimum amount of the contract they must perform to be defined as the prime?
Yeah, that's a good question. No, I don't know I don't know if Nicole, do you have an answer to that? Because I don't.
I do not have a definitive answer for you, but I don't think it matters. I really haven't run into that situation.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. But good question. That's something we can look into.
Yeah, I can look into it.
Yeah, that would be interesting, because I know we work with we're a woman business enterprise, and we look at a number of RFPs. We'd like to pursue it as a prime, and we always wonder what percentage of the work do we have to self-perform to demonstrate that we are the prime? Is it 50% or something less? And we always struggle with that to see what is the proper percentage. So any guideline on that would be very, very helpful.
Sure. I'll look into it for you.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to send the presentation out as an email after this. So any questions like that, we can sort of get an answer and put in that email as well.
Yeah, another question here. This is Steve. What was the dollar threshold for a construction contract to be issued by RFP versus publicly bid? Is there a dollar amount?
So we have an on-call list, and we have categories for that. And the estimated value has to be $900,000 and below to go out to our on-calls. But if it's estimated above that, it has to go to open RFP.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Nicole, correct me if I'm wrong, but the on-call contract goes out, it could go out
For 2 years. It's not going out for 2 years, probably. We are renewing them, and they're probably going to go out to bid, and Most of them expire around August, so we'll probably go out to bid in spring of 2024.
Great, thanks. And that really is a good opportunity for smaller contractors or vendors to get on our list and get some on-call contracts and some experience with us as well. Nicole, do you mind talking a little bit about our pre-bid meetings, just sort of what they are and what people can expect in those?
Sure. When you log into Bonfire, you will see the project schedule for every one of our solicitations. So it'll tell you when it opens, when it closes, when your questions are due by, and also any like on-site visits, and also our mandatory pre-bid meetings. I would say 99% of our pre-bid meetings are mandatory. And the links are always provided for access via Bonfire, and they're usually just a project overview and anything that the engineering team or ops thinks is important for that project that stands out from any typical project. And we are doing a lot of projects that PWSA hasn't done in like 100 years. So, I mean, we do cover some important items, and we also cover supplier diversity, and like Emily touched on the Penvest stuff, and we go over those requirements. So it's basically like a project overview of important information.
Great, thanks. We keep mentioning the water reliability plan, so I just wanted to mention that this is, you know, over $400 million over the next 5 years that we're going to be spending upgrading our water systems. And as Nicole mentioned, you know, some of these projects haven't been done in 100 years. So they are larger projects with lots of money to be spent on local contractors. So keep an eye out. There's quite a few coming up. We hope early 2023. So keep an eye out. Any other questions? Maybe questions about non-construction contracts, non-engineering, maybe some professional services?
Again, I just have one question concerning the on-call contracts. Is there a way to be added to that list? Because being a small firm, then the only projects that we can pursue are the larger projects, larger than $900,000, which puts us in competition with many, many large firms. So is there any way that we could be considered or added to the on-call list for the smaller projects where we can be maybe more competitive?
No, we had that the on-calls were publicly bid.
Right.
We did an RFQ. We had close to 100 submittals. So we did a lot of due diligence to go through everyone's proposals, and a lot of them do partner with Prime. So our list of on-calls is underneath my portion of the website, and you can access that. And I would highly encourage you to familiarize yourself with the categories and the vendors that are under those categories and try to partner with them.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, this is Renee DiMache-Farrow. I own Decorating Details. I do window treatments. There's probably not much call for this. So that's, I guess, my question for window shades.
No, we are very heavy construction, water, sewer.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we also rent our space too, so we don't really have a lot of say in those kinds of things either.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Mhm.
We do have lots of printing contracts and like consulting contracts, but not so much space contracts. So I think we do bid out like landscaping and whatnot at some of our facilities, but as far as like upgrades to our building, those don't come along very often.
I have a quick question. I work for a company, diverse company called Storm Sensor. We haven't fully received all our certifications, DBE certifications, but I'd like to start the process with Bonfire. Do you know approximately how long it would take to, I don't want to
Minutes.
miss opportunities.
Minutes.
Minutes?
It's
No,
only,
just to
it's
sign up.
gonna,
I don't have all the certs available to log in or to provide to log in to
yeah,
get
but
that.
you could still add in and probably update your log in and create one and update your profile later.
Okay. All right. Thank
Okay?
you.
Uh-huh.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if you need any help with certifications, I can send you to the correct. We don't do certifications, but I can send you to the people who do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's process.
And when you sign up for Bonfire, you don't necessarily have to have your certifications, but you can put in your NAICS codes that relate to, what your business specializes in still. So you don't have to be certified to select those codes.
Thanks again.
Those are some really great questions. Any last minute thoughts? Okay, we'll send out this recording and the presentation, so you'll have all of those live links that Nicole and Emily added to their presentations. So you can go back and browse our website and find what you're looking for pretty easily. And of course, we're always available for if any questions come up afterwards. And as Emily mentioned, we'll have that Prime event in November. So we'll send out more information about location and timing and sort of the focus of that once we nail that down. So thank you, Nicole and Emily, for presenting today.
Sure.
Thank you for attending.
Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Have a
thank
good
you all.
day.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.